Hey guys, Jen Graves here. I know, new hairstyle. Anyway, I just kind of got tired, so I just shaved it off. Um, anyway, so today, what we were doing, and I feel like should have happened a long time ago, but probably didn't for some reason or another. We're gonna do my top 20 Pokemon. So, anyway, I got some honorable mentions first. And that's gonna. Sorry, it's in black and white. I didn't have any color. But that's Meganium, Blastoise, and Primeape. So those are my honorable mentions. If I went up to 25, most likely they would be on that 25 list. Another thing with this list, as far as everything goes, really all of it is from Generation 1, 2, and 3. I like some of the other generations, but 1, 2, and 3 are my favorites, so I usually put more time into playing those or anything as far as the Pokemon go. And that's kind of where all of this list being basically Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn. So put a comment down below if you like a certain guy that's on my list. Or post below your top 20, top 10, something like that. Just let me know so other people can see it too. And, you don't have to stay with those three groups. I know a lot of people do, especially like my age, because we grew up with Pokemon. Pokemon came out the year I was born, so at least here in America, or was being made in 1991. So anyway, let's hop into the list though. So, number 20 is Pidgeot. So Pidgeot is just spectacular to me. I like that it was one of Ash's first kind of Pokemon that he had. And I like how big it is. And out of all the different kind of bird starters, Pidgeot is probably my favorite. Some of the other ones are kind of weird in a way or whatever, but this one just kind of goes with the original and stuff like that. So I really like him. That's probably my favorite guy, and that's why he's on at least the top 20 of my list. So, and that one's from Kanto, if anybody doesn't know Pokemon. So number 19, I just printed them out on the same list, so I'll flip it over for you. Number 19 is Aggron. Aggron is like a steel and ground type. Really cool. Me and my brother both, whenever Hoenn first came out, this was, you buy kind of the starter guide too. If you're a nerd, you just kind of buy that. And you really just do it to look at the Pokemon. You really don't use it for anything else because you want to enjoy the story and everything. So we just kind of bought it and picked out 6 Pokemon we thought that we would like. And Aggron, Aeron is the one that we picked for both of our 6 starters, or our 6 guys for our team. And so Aggron is the last form of that. Aggron's one of my favorite guys. I always put him on a Hoenn team just because of how cool he is. And, he really rounds out the team, so I think he's really cool. Not only that, but on the top, if you can see it, it kind of looks like almost like a mammoth skull or something like that. I think that's pretty cool too. But yeah, he's pretty cool. I feel like a bunch of the guys I picked kind of look like dinosaurs. So anyway, that's 2019. I gotta flip these over. My bad. Number 18 is Nidoking. I like him better than Nidoqueen, or she would probably be on my top 20 list. I just like, kind of that he can use Earthquake and all that other stuff. And not only that, but me and my friends actually made a Pokemon RPG, and this was one of the guys. I saved up a bunch of rare candies and stuff that I got him, and I ended up blowing like almost all my rare candies just to level up my guy into this one. And I had him built where he was just super fantastic. with different abilities and stuff based off his poison and based off of his earth abilities. So I really like him. Not only that, but he's kind of he's got that king purple color to him. Obviously not here, but he is one of my other favorite guys. So, and then let's go to number 17. Number 17 is Butterfree. Butterfree is one of the fastest guys you can level up. You know, he's one of the beginning insects where he goes basically like evolves at level 7 into Metapod from Caterpie, and then from Metapod at level 10 into Butterfree. So he's kind of one of my favorite guys. I just like how he looks. His design's a lot better than a lot of other people's too in the bug world. So I really like him. I like how fast he evolves, and I like that usually I can kind of keep him on my team as a really great support guy, or him taking out guys that are kind of minor with confusion, different stuff like that. So he's really fun to play with. I really like him too. So, I mean, you know that a bunch of these are from Kanto. So that way you can kind of say, yeah, I agree with you. Kanto's the best. So that's 17. 16 is Gyarados. Gyarados is one of my favorites. Usually if I play the Pokemon RPG or whatever, I always team him up with my Steelix, just because they're both kind of serpentine. But everybody knows that you have to have a Gyarados, just because he evolves from one of the weakest Pokemon in the game. The only other one I would say is probably Feebas into Milotech, but you know, Gyarados, it still beats out Milotech for me. Gyarados is amazing and cool, and he's also in Pokemon the first movie, so you know, you gotta have the win for that too. So 15 is Tyranitar. Tyranitar is one of the pseudo legendaries. He's really been one of my favorite ones from, well, actually the movie, the Celebi movie, when the hunter guy had him. He's one of my favorite guys, so I've kind of kept a hold of him. Not only that, but I like how he's one of the guys you have to have a lot of work for, like with evolving Larvitar into Pupitar and Pupitar into Tyranitar. I like the progression that you can make with that guy. And me and my brother, usually when we play games like this, we will actually make storylines off of it to go with that storyline, and we'll do battles like if we were both on our Pokemon journey, and make storylines off of that. So we do different writing and stuff for our Pokemon too. Okay. Number 14 is Feraligatr. We are on 14, right? Yes, we're on 14. 14 is Feraligatr. Sorry, this picture's kind of smaller. Some of them I had to blow up a little bit, and they were just super small, and so I didn't want them to kind of fizzle out when I did that. But yeah, Feraligatr. I'll just tell you, you'll probably see at least a handful of starters on this list, because Kanto and Johto are two of my favorite ones. Hoenn, there's really only one, but we'll get to that. So Feraligatr, though, like him because he's kind of a little alligator, crocodile kind of thing, or feral alligator, however you want to split his name up. He's really cool, though. I really like him, and I really like this one based off of the anime where Ash had him and he danced a lot and stuff. I just thought that was one of the coolest things. So then we have number 13, which is Salamence, or Salamence, however you say it, or want to say it. He evolves from, well, his first form is Bagon, which is a little hard-headed kind of T-Rex raptor-looking guy, into a dragon finally, from Sheldon. And he's one of my favorite guys. He's actually on my team of 6 for the Hoenn League, just because of I just really like Bagon a lot. And evolving him up into Salamence, all that, really cool stuff. I didn't really keep pseudo legendaries that much until, or keep track of them until I got into the end of 3rd gen. So that's kind of what this is for, with 3rd gen with Salamence. And he's a cool dragon guy. That's really a bunch of what I like is the dragon guys. I gotta reposition my hand real quick. It's starting to fall asleep. Had to move fingers. So, what else? This is another one off of the same gen. This is Flygon from Hoenn. Flygon comes from a basically like a termite trapinch, which stays in the sand and has a big jaw, and then he kind of evolves into like dragonflies kind of there from there. And so anyway, Flygon is one of my favorites too. He was one of the first guys that I picked on my team, and later on Salamence came along, but I always try and keep them on as a team up together just because they're both cool dragon looking guys. So then let me flip it around. I forgot if I had another one or not. So Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is one of the really cool Pokemon that I think is really underrated, just because of different stuff. Actually, when I made my Mr. Mime in our RPG game, I had him tricked out where he could have used more than 4 moves. It would have been a lot greater if it was like the anime or anything where they have more than just the 4 moves. But he was able to increase all of his special attack and special defense, and basically increase everything to make him super strong and super defensive, which I loved. He could swap it with different people, which I love. So I mean, there was a bunch of different things I kind of did with him, and as a team effort, he was a lot better for my guys that I used. But not only that, if you have read Pokemon Adventures with him, I really like how they depicted him too. He uses a secret broom move, and it actually, they draw it like a house kind of that you're in, and you have to find out how to get around in the house because it's all invisible, and he knows where it is and stuff. So I really like how they depicted him too. That was 11, so we're on number 10, guys. Halfway through. So number 10 is Aerodactyl. This is the only fossil Pokemon on my top 10. I do like a lot of other fossil guys, but to me, they're not good enough to get on the top 10. Aerodactyl has always been one of my favorites too, and I think he's the only one that doesn't evolve out of the fossil guys. So he's just really cool. I always like seeing him and stuff. And he was kind of used like a backpack in Pokemon Adventures, which is really cool. I really like that too. So number 9, Charizard. I bet a lot of people thought this one should have been a lot higher on my list. So no, I'm kind of one of those people that I like Charizard, but it all depends. Me and my brother talked about it one day, and we both decided that we're kind of dead even. I like more fire guys, and he likes more grass guys. But when it comes to a team up, we're kind of stuck on the fence between grass and fire and what we would pick for it. So, but yeah, if I was a fire starter kind of guy, Charizard's one of my top picks. All that other stuff. And of course, he's one of the first guys that came out, so you have to like him. If he's not in somebody's top 10, you're probably sadly mistaken and probably should have never watched Pokemon. Just saying, Charizard's usually everybody's favorite. So that was number 9. Number 8 Number 8 for me is Typhlosion, another fire starter guy. This one's from Johto. Cyndaquil is my brother's favorite guy, so Typhlosion has always been one of my favorite ones too. We always like him. We always argue if we're going to pick starters and stuff, and we have to pick separate ones, who's going to get him. And so that kind of made my love for him go down a little bit, because I didn't want to pick him and my brother not get to pick him. So I usually let him have this one, and I'll pick between Totodile and Chikorita. So anyway, but he's really cool. I like the whole mane thing that he has, where he can sit there and the fire comes out of his neck, kind of like a lion. So number 7 is Gengar. Gengar is one of my favorite guys. He's one of the first ghost Pokemon to come out, or really the only ghost Pokemon to come out. Really cool guy. Not a lot of people knew how to play him, I guess, because the only way you could really defeat him is with a psychic type, and there weren't that many psychic types to begin with. So having Gengar on your team was almost an ultimate win. So you kind of had to play around with it. That's why one of the last bosses of the Elite Four had a Gengar and was a ghost trainer, because not a lot of people could stand in his way. So he's definitely one of my favorites. So number 6 is Venusaur. Like I said, I got an honorable mention for Blastoise. All of basically the first starters are all of my favorite guys, or all of my favorite starter crew. I would definitely say that you can't argue against it. Venusaur is a little more for me than Charizard, like I said, but that's just because of how amazing he is. Even though they've had things where it's like, oh, they're going to battle each other and do all this stuff, that's not really a big thing for me. If you make your guy the right way, I'm sure they could take out anybody. So it all just depends. But Venusaur is one of my favorite guys in that aspect. So we're 75% of the way through. So my next one is Lapras. It's number 5 for me. Lapras is one of my absolute favorite guys. He is basically on almost all of my teams for my RPG, or like right now, like in my Pokemon game, different stuff like that. Lapras has become one of my ultimate favorites, especially using him like as a team effort kind of thing too. A lot of different stuff like that. And he uses ice. It kind of looks like Nessie, from Ireland, or the Loch Ness Monster. That is Ireland, I think. Yes. No. I don't know. I can't remember in this instance because I'm so set on Pokemon right now. So, moving on. Number 4 is Alakazam. This is actually this was my first starter using Abra in our Pokemon RPG that we played. Alakazam has always been a super cool guy. I really like playing this guy. I really like having Alakazam. And, he's just a cool Pokemon all around, especially wielding those spoons. He's good at ice cream parties, just saying. So, really good guy. Love him. These last 5 are guys that I usually keep on my team. Or last 6. Number 3 is Metagross. Metagross. Or Gross, depending on how you want to say his name. But Metagross is one of my absolute favorites. That's why he's in my top 3. My top 3 have never changed. Usually my top 5 have never changed. But Metagross is super cool. I like that he kind of represents like a meteor kind of stuff. And all the work you have to put into him with Beldum and all that other stuff into Metang, it's kind of a lot of work you have to do. But hey, to get Metagross is so amazing. So that's why I like him as well, because he's just super fantastic and all that other stuff. He's one of the only guys between my first guy that I do, which is obviously one of the last 2, and this guy in the games that I actually get up to level 100, and I've used a level 100 one for him for a long time. So we're on our last sheet of paper. Number 2 is Blaziken. Blaziken is my ultimate favorite starter. Torchic, I totally pick. My brother doesn't like him. He's more of a Snivy or Trico kind of guy. Sorry, I got my gens mixed up. They look pretty closely alike though, right? But Torchic what became my ultimate guy after my brother basically wanted Cyndaquil. So that's where I ended up doing that and getting him. He's one of my ultimate favorite guys. Like I said, he usually has never fallen. Well, he has never fallen out of a spot. He was kind of in spot 1 for a while, but that's just in my starter lineup. And then as I got farther into saying everything past starters and stuff, and including them, actually knocked him to spot 2. So he is, like I said though, one of my favorite guys. I always pick him. I don't think I've ever played with a Mudkip, or I've never played with a Trico, unless it was like somebody that I got traded to me or something like that. I've never started with any other guy than Torchic, so that'll tell you that this is my favorite, one of my favorite guys of all time. So anyway, and number one has been my favorite for all of time. So there's not another guy I can really pick for it. He's really cool. And he, for me, even with Kanto, yes, he's a Kanto guy. Out of that whole entire list, down between him and Charizard, because Charizard used to be like one of my top favorite guys, ahead of Venusaur anyway, and this is the guy that I've liked since seeing him. I've liked him in every show that I've seen him in. I've liked him in the games, all that other stuff, everything. This is the guy that I always want and I always have. Somehow, some way, got to figure out how to get him. And so I have kept this one and tried to keep him, and he's always been my favorite. And he actually has beaten Charizard out many times just because I like him. And then after Charizard went down again because of Venusaur, this guy still stayed in spot 1. So anyway, we're ready to see him. Ready? We are? Yep. Okay. So my number 1 is Dragonite. This is my ultimate favorite guy. I've always liked Dragonite. I like how he turns into this guy, even though it's kind of weird that he starts out basically as like a couple different like serpents. But when he gets to this form, I ultimately like him. He's my favorite guy of all times, and I couldn't pick another guy to replace him ever. But like I said, my top 3 guys are guys that I always put on the same team regardless, or I'll change my other 3, just different stuff like that. Doesn't change too often, but this is my ultimate favorite guy right here. Nobody can beat him out for me. So, but yeah, so Dragonite, he is a pseudo guy too. So I know I got like 3 pseudos, but some of the other ones I don't like. So especially, but if you looked at all of them, yeah, they're all Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn Pokemon. Like I said, I do like some of the other ones, but they're just not in my list as far as that goes. And just like I said before, if any of you guys want to post down below in the comments anywhere, let me know what Pokemon you like. If you want to do a top 22 and let me know that, or a top 10, or a top 5, or even a top 3, or just your favorite guy overall, let me know. And if you tell me that, you can always pick like the last evolution, because I considered if you like the last one, then you like all of them. If you like the baby Pokemon, then you like all of them, because at some point your guy could evolve into it. or different things like that. So let me know, and I will catch you guys later on. Thanks for watching my top 20 Pokemon. And like I said, I will catch you guys later. Jen Graves, out. Thanks for liking the new hairstyle. Nobody complained about it yet. So, anyway, bye guys.